Okay, the next lesson, in Drop Two Chords, talking about 2-5-1 progressions, and I just also want to let you know that as you learn these, when you first learned a new chord, particularly maybe these Drop Two chords, and it said G minor 7, and you had to think about it. You had to go, okay, G minor 7, I could play here, I could play here. You maybe had to make it one note at a time, G, B flat, D, F, that kind of thing. But eventually you got the chords, like you could just grab chords. You saw G minor 7 on a chart, or A minor 7, or C7, or F major 7, or whatever. You would just grab it. Same thing's going to happen because with 2-5-1 progressions, because they're so common in jazz that as you look at a chart that has a bunch of 2-5-1s on it, you're going to start to see, oh, that's just a 2-5-1 in F. That's a 2-5-1 in C. That's a 2-5-1 in B flat. So as you see that, you'll be able to read in chunks. You won't be looking one chord at 3 individual chords. You'll be looking at a progression of 3 chords, or eventually maybe a progression of 5 chords or of 8 chords, and you'll be reading things in bigger chunks. And the same thing will happen with your fretting hand, where now you can grab a G minor 7 chord quickly. You'll just feel what a 2-5-1 feels like. You'll see it written, you'll know what it feels like. You won't even really have to think about it so much. It'll all become kind of motor memory, okay? So as you practice, as you read through charts, and that's what I would really recommend is pull out the real book and just start reading through the chord changes. You could even, instead of doing, if it's 2 bars of G7, I would just play 1 G7 and go to the next chord. Use charts in the real book, tunes in the real book, as just a sight reading practice to help you practice finding chords quickly, okay? Because if you spend that long on a G7 chord, then that's that much less time you have to practice changing from that chord to the next chord. So if the next chord after G7 might be C7, you can just go back and forth and try to get a kind of a finger memory thing going there where you don't have to think about that. Okay? So now I'm up here on the first inversion G minor 7 chord. I'm up at the 8th fret and still on the top 4 strings, 8, 10, 8, 10. Okay, and that's B flat, F, G, and D. It's our G minor 7 chord. The most logical C7 chord to go to is the one right there. Okay, 8, 9, 8, 8. Okay, so I'm taking the 7th of the G chord down to the 3rd of the C chord, and I'm taking the 5th of the G chord down to the root of the C chord, and that's just pretty much that simple. There's 2 common tones between the 2 chord and the 5 chord. Okay, and then that might be the most logical F, certainly the easiest, the logical F chord to go to, or we could go to this one down here. Okay, if I could go up to this C7, and that's a very easy change to make. So if I go from here, our first inversion G chord, I go up to a root inversion C chord, so it's 10, 12, 11, 12, okay, and then just go right to the F major 7 that's 10, 10, 10, 12. Okay, or C, F, A, E. Now, actually, more important to me than the fret numbers, although that's just a quick way of me being able to tell you where I'm at and what I'm playing. More important to me is that you learn the letter names of the notes. In this case, C, F, A, and E. Or even more important in some ways is the 5th, root, 3rd, and 7th. And that way, if you could easily flat or sharp the 5. You can add a 9th by going up, picking the root up a whole step. Okay, so we're at G minor 7. Okay, another one we could do. Let's see. I could do an altered chord on the C chord. I could go G major 7, or G minor 7. Sorry, G minor 7 to C7 flat 9. Got the flat 9 on top, and then go to this first inversion F major 7 chord. And if it's a little easier, you could make this an F6 chord by taking the E down to a D. Okay, and the frets on that are 7, 7, 6, 8. Okay, so we have G minor 7 goes really nicely down to C7 with a flat 9. Not only harmonically nicely, but also just feels good to go down, just slide those 2 fingers down. And then to the C6, or F6. 7, and then F major 6. I could go up too from there. I could go okay? Or I could go up to this C7 here, flat 9, like that too, okay? Or I could do both. Remember, we did that before. I went for this, because I say I had 2 beats of G minor 7, and then 2 beats of C7, okay? And I could take that E down to a D and play an F6 here. So I have this F6, I have this F6. F6 usually works great substituting for an F major 7. Or a 6 can be substitute for a major 7 just about any time. Okay, what are some others? I can flat the 5 on the G minor 7 chord. So G minor 7 flat 5. So that would be 8, 10, 8, 9. Okay. Then I can go to the C7. That's a nice little resolution there. And then the F major 7. I could even go to F major 7 with a sharp 11 or a flat 5, so it would sound like this. A little tough one to get. Kind of a nice little chromatic movement there, though. Okay. I could also go up just as easily. The other thing I could go from, say, G minor 7 with a flat 5 to C7 with a sharp 9. You like that? Or I could go just from G minor 7, get that chromatic movement. Okay, so what I'm doing, G minor 7 here, then I'm going C7, but I'm putting a sharp 9 on top, so I'm putting a D sharp up there, okay? And then I'm leading that up to the E, which is the 7th of the F chord. So it creates really nice movement, chromatic movement. Let's see. I could go G minor 7 flat 5 to sharp 9 to the major 7th. Okay? So there's a lot of things we could do. I could go like this. I could go to G minor 7. This is cool. G minor 7. And these things will just probably happen spontaneously as you get more familiar with the drop 2 chords and you're playing through progressions. And generally, you know, if it says G minor 7 to C7 to F major 7 in the chart, then you can do these alterations oftentimes. Now you have to pay attention to the melody. If the melody is a D on top, you may not want to play a G minor 7 with a flat 5 because that's going to conflict with the melody. But a lot of times when you're comping behind a soloist, you can kind of, you know, make the chord progression a little bit more interesting. So the 2-5-1 I was thinking of was G minor 7 to C7 sharp 9 to F major, or to F6. So we have that kind of, we're kind of surrounding their neighboring tones, right? And this also works great when you're trying to do like a chord melody or something. You want to go, you know, where you want to create some, maybe some movement. You want to be able to solo and play chords at the same time. Like a Joe Pass kind of thing. So okay, so I pretty much stayed in one area. I didn't really. I could have gone up to this C maybe a little bit. I could still do that. I could even go all the way up to this F major 7, the third inversion. So I can take this G minor 7 to the C7 to the F major 7, and all of these I could alternate. You know, as I go up, like put a flat 5 on this one, and then put maybe a flat 5 on this one. So we got G minor 7 flat 5, C7 flat 5, and then F major 7. You know, you can do all those alterations to make it a little bit more interesting. Sometimes it's fun to put them on the top string because then they kind of come out like a melody. But you know, the alterations can go anywhere. So okay, so that's enough for now. Probably gave you too much. But we're going to do the next one is going to be up here. The second inversion G minor 7 chord is what we're going to start on, and we'll build from there. God bless you guys. Talk to you soon.